this, Gaddafi's address of Tuesday night had enraged even those who know him well. This is the town of Misrata in western Libya, which has reportedly fallen to the opposition. If these new pictures are accurate, then they would seem to bear that out, but the country remains split. Not beyond dispute is the chaos on the streets and the danger which protesters often run headlong into.
He's using mercenaries, not because he wants to use them, because he cannot use the army. He cannot use the armed forces.
On the 22nd of February 2011, a frantic President Muammar Gaddafi declares war on his countrymen.
عندي بندقيتي انا حنقاتل اخر قطر من دمي ومعي الشعب الليبي وسنزحف انا والملايين لتطهير ليبيا شبر شبر بيت بيت زنقه زنقه فرد فرد نحن لن نستخدم القوه بعد.
Thousands of citizens have risen up in protest against him. He vows to cleanse Libya of the uprising, house by house, a frightening insight into his state of mind, that of a man ready to cling to power by any means.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar ya Hawanin!
While the people were marching to the cemetery bearing 30 martyrs, they were hit with live ammunition and 4 demonstrators were killed.
It began in Benghazi with the police shooting of 2 men at a rally demanding the release of a human rights lawyer.
The people who fired these shots are the security of the government. There are some Africans brought to the eastern region to kill our people. There is a big massacre.
As the men are buried, police open fire. Outrage spreads across Libya. Inspired by the success of the People's Revolution in Egypt just days before, activists call for a day of rage. On the 17th of February, furious crowds confront security forces in several cities. The state response is extremely violent, but the chant, "Down with the regime," only gets louder.
The demonstration started peaceful. They have lost control of the center of Benghazi. They are calling for the fall of Gaddafi's regime.
No security forces at all. There is no police, there is nothing. It's only the people and civilian, and they are very, very young. They are 18, 17, 20. Those are the youth, our youth. They are the youth of the revolution. They are the people who have no hope, no dreams. They are my students. They wanted freedom. They wanted rights. They wanted human dignity and human worth without weapons, with only rocks in their hands. And we just got firing on them with heavy weaponry. It was a massacre. It was a crime against humanity.
Hails of gunfire, shelling, snipers, and even mercenaries, all reportedly inflicted on civilians, and Gaddafi's claim of restraint promises worse to come. In cities across Europe and the United States, Libyan dissidents have been leading a show of solidarity.
Excuse me, please.
For the watching world, the regime's violence is almost unbelievable. But Libyan dissidents have been living in terror for a generation.
سلمى. حبيب جماعة مزدفوني على. ألو. خير سالم شنو حالك؟
London dissident Naji has become a contact point for people anxious for news of their relatives. In the 1970s and 80s, thousands of young men like him fled into exile from Gaddafi's rule.
Gaddafi is a killer! Gaddafi is a murderer!
Before there used to be, we are very lucky if we can get 60 people together. Now, from what I saw yesterday, we're talking about nearly 5,000 people yesterday outside down the street. You'll find them from all walks of life. There's students, there is intellectuals, there's doctors, there's normal people like myself. I think the turning point was what they saw in Tunisia and Egypt, and then they saw how easy it is, and all these dictators and regimes that they were fearful of, they found out that they are actually made out of paper and they just collapsed in a few days.
Even in London, being at the protest means breaking a barrier of fear and silence decades old.
I left Libya in 1978. After April 1975-76, there were demonstration, peaceful demonstration by the student in the university. And then they have arrested hundreds of people. They have shot people on the street. 2 of my friends has been killed in front of me. 3 of my friends has been hanged. And I am waiting to go back to Libya and to share the victory with my own people.
I just spoke to Libya this morning, and they said about 1 million people from Benghazi, from the west, gone all the way to liberate Tripoli. We're gonna die anyway, so might as well do it for freedom of our country and our people.
Obama, listen to all these brave men. What we're actually hoping from this protest to achieve is to make the Western world see the atrocity that's happening in Libya. The reason we're protesting today here is we're hoping that the United States, because of its clout and its stance in the world, that they might tip the balance towards the Libyan people. We don't want any military involvement. All we want is to help us, maybe give us weapons to defend ourselves, maybe help us by introducing a flying zone ban so the aircrafts cannot fly and bomb the Libyans. Maybe yes, but as a military intervention or physical like that, we don't agree to that. It's a Libyan problem and Libyan people has to solve it. In all these years, I've never told anybody where my address is, and this is the first time on public I tell you my address. Keeping my address secret is past, gone. Hello. We've got some visitors.
Oh.
Hiya.
Good day.
This is my lovely wife, Sharon.
Long-suffering wife, Sharon. Come on in. Just catching up with this. And I think I've just seen your brother.
No. Who? Which one?
Fakhri.
Fakhri.
From Benghazi on a shot, and hopefully it will come round on a loop.
There you go. How about that? She just saw my brother Fakhri with the demonstrators in the crowd in Benghazi.
I'm sure. It comes to the side of this poster.
Here.
Here?
Oh yeah, here he is.
Here he is?
Yeah. In 1974, where we had to do the national service, we didn't know anything about national service before. I remember some of my fellow students, we went into the army barracks and they were bringing 3-piece suits because they didn't know, we had no idea about the army. But anyway, when we went in, the treatment, it wasn't a training, and the treatment was really to break our spirits, and it was torture. Some people, they put you on the tarmac while you're rolling up all your trousers above the knee, and you start crawling like this, and somebody come from behind you and kick your foot. So then your knee is gonna get grazed on the tarmac. And some people, until the bones actually came out. And when we stopped and thought, this is not training, this is not, you're not training young men to be soldiers to defend their countries. This is to break us. And not just the students, because he did that to the freelance and workers, the government workers and the teachers and all types of people. Every time he takes one part of these people and make them go into the camps. And by doing this, he actually planted a fear in the whole of the population.
The regime arrested all the union or the movement of the Libyan student in the university.
Ali, Naji's childhood friend, recalls this as the moment Gaddafi first began to punish dissent. As a 19-year-old, he attended a student protest in Benghazi. He claims he was then unlawfully detained by a clandestine unit of state security dubbed Group 16.
The first thing, you go inside, you hear your brothers, you Libyans there, either crying or either you see the blood. They were really terrorizing me. Abdullah Sunusi has a group, they call it 16, Group 16. This group is basically specialized in torturing and killing. They put you in a group of 16 and they start hitting you from everywhere, you know, so it's, if you are not strong enough, you're gonna collapse, okay? Because to see 16 people hitting you is not easy. They do many things, you know, you can't even think about them as a human being. You can't, because it's not really with your mind, because you're a normal human being, and logic does not really agree with it. And after that, in 1976, they released us. And we thought, this is the end of it.
Instead, state repression reached new heights.
After that, we started to, you know, to find our way of life, to work, to do other, you know, to move on. That's the time where the things become violent and they become different, and terrorizing people, to hang people on the streets and show them in the TV.
I remember I was studying in my flat and I had a car with the horn continuously beeping. To my surprise, a guy coming, putting his head out of the window with the horn continuous on and saying, "Come out, they're killing your kids, they're hanging your kids, come out, people come out." I don't know to this day what happened to this guy. He was a brave act at the time. So I went and I followed, and then I saw two of the guys hanging. One of them actually used to be my teacher in my primary school, Muammar Gaddafi. He was my teacher. And after that, obviously, all of the people on my generation now, we decided that it's time to get out.
But the dissident generation found that even exile from their homeland didn't guarantee safety from the hit squads.
In 1978, I left Libya to have a safer place. The opposition started abroad, and the movement started to spread around. And I started to feel again that the regime chasing his opponents. And he assassinated another gentleman on Manchester. And he assassinated another two in Italy. He assassinated another one or two in Lebanon. He assassinated in Greece, 3 people.
At an anti-Gaddafi protest in 1984, gunmen firing from inside the Libyan embassy would kill on the streets of London.
On 17th of April 1984, we were in front of the Libyan embassy in St. James Square. I was standing like everybody else opposite the embassy. On that demonstration, I was speaking to BC Ivana Fletcher. On that time, was in front of me, like you. Just a few words. And then after that, she has been shot. Other of my friends or my colleagues, they have been shot. There were 11 being shot. He killed people inside Libya. He killed people outside. He, anyway, can do anything.
In 1969, Libyans watched as a 27-year-old army captain seized power from pro-Western King Idris. Riding on a wave of Arab nationalism, Gaddafi's coup appeared to herald an era of modernity and the championing of Arab rights.
وحتى بداية السبعينات كان يضرب بالمثل الشعب الليبي كانت المحلات لا تقفل. يعني فترة الظهيرة عندما الناس تمشي للقيلولة وكذا كان يضع عبارة عن عصا بتاع التنظيف هذه المكنسة ويغادر. المحلات كانت مفتوحة، كان البلد عايش في أمان.
The people, they were dreaming of what he was telling us. And it was a dream to see prosperity, happiness and progress. But then we start to understand, but what happened, that he could really be clever enough to separate the people from themselves.
His new order meant the end of political freedom. Elections were cancelled, the constitution annulled, unions banned, and civil institutions undermined.
ليبيا ومنذ عدة سنوات، يعني أكثر من 40 سنة، يعني لا توجد لدينا صحافة حرة، ليس لدينا أحزاب، ليس لدينا مؤسسات، كل شيء محتكر من النظام. في ليبيا ما فيش إلا صوت واحد وهو صوت رأس النظام أو رأس اللانظام فقط. ما عندناش مؤسسات، لا توجد أي مؤسسات في ليبيا. الرأي، حرية الرأي في ليبيا منعدمة. يعني قد تسب الله واستغفر الله ولا تسب النظام.
I grew up with not liking what I see. I've always been known for speaking my mind. I got in trouble in Libya. I was arrested a day or two. My older brother got me out just because it was just speaking did not do anything, major.
Are hungry for basic human rights.
My name is Shahrazad Kablan. I'm a teacher. I teach in a high school. All of a sudden found myself an activist. Looking back at Gaddafi and what he has done over the years, 42 years of brutality, 42 years of scaring people, I'm not surprised at what's going on.
As Gaddafi's warnings become more stark, the numbers at rallies in support of him begin to swell. Those who have chosen loyalty to the regime and may heed his call to arms and to re-establish order.
We deserve Libya from those rats.
Bin Laden and his operatives are providing your children with hallucination pills.
He is a desperate man trying to blame someone of something. And he's trying to reach out to the West, because the West is afraid of extremism, the West is afraid of Bin Laden, the West is afraid of Muslim Brotherhood, you name it.
Colonel Gaddafi is fast losing the support of his own people.
I, General Abdel Fattah Yunus al-Abaidi, have resigned all my posts in response to the revolution of February 17th.
Diplomats have been resigning across the world.
As Gaddafi's government appears to be on the brink of collapse,
The current regime is unjust and oppressive.
a string of over 30 senior officials resign in condemnation.
Now, among the ambassadors who have resigned is Ali al-Essawi, the former Libyan ambassador to India.
This is a madman. This is a madman, and he is not stable.
Even those within his inner circle begin to defect.
I was performing my duties as a diplomat, and no more, no less. First, when I resigned, and I condemned what was happening in my country, the two daughters of mine was brought to the Libyan TV to speak and saying that everything was going okay in Tripoli, no bombing, no killing, no this and that, and what Daddy is saying is not the correct. They did say lie, but they said that it is not correct. Well, they're under custody, but in their house. I mean, in any moment he can pick them up and God knows what will happen. Our revolution, it is more bloody than the Egyptian one and the Tunisian one. I mean, imagine in a week we had already 500, 600 dead. Now we are over 1,000. You say, I am a saint. But meanwhile, when you say I am a saint, you are doing a diabolic act. So you are not anymore a saint, but you are a devil.
Defections of military and air force chiefs and even whole units enable the movement to take control of large parts of the country. They say orders to target civilians pushed them to defy Gaddafi. Qassem forfeited his career in the Air Force in 2005 to escape Gaddafi's Libya. He has been struggling to find work in Europe ever since and to stay out of reach of the regime's hitmen.
للأسف الشديد يعني شهائدنا من ليبيا سواء كان طبيب من ليبيا متخرج من ليبيا أو طيار شهايد غير معترف بهم وبالتحديد هنا في بلجيكا نظام التعليم عندهم عالي جدا. طبيعة العمل الذي كنت أقوم به في ليبيا يعني السرب اللي كنت أشتغل به هو سرب مضاد للغواصات، يعني مراقبة الشواطئ، حماية الشواطئ الليبية من أي هجمة قد تكون من البحر أو عبر الغواصات، بحاول رصد تحرك الغواصات في البحر. على سبيل المثال لما تم إعدام خميس الغناي من أحد القبائل الموالية للقذافي تم إعدامه وحضروا لنا هذا الشريط وشاهدناه شبه بالقوة، يعني حضروا لنا أنك لازم تحضر وتشاهد هذا الشريط فقط لترهيب. خروجنا من ليبيا كان لضغوط، يعني كانت الاستدعاءات من المخابرات، التحقيقات المتكررة، يعني في تضييق على الحريات، يعني في تضييق يعني بشكل رهيب. يعني أناديكم أخوتي في ليبيا جميعا أن تتحركوا باتجاه طرابلس، إنها المعقل الأخير لنظام القذافي.
Voices like Qassem's have been tireless in trying to expose human rights abuses in Libya. But as Gaddafi posed less of a threat to the West, governments there lost interest in his abuse of human rights.
The leader of Libya, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, publicly confirmed his commitment to disclose and dismantle all weapons of mass destruction programs in his country.
In 2003, Libya gave up its ambitions to develop nuclear weapons to become Europe's fourth largest oil producer.
When Libya came out of the cold, and I hear a lot of foreign people talking about how Gaddafi has changed. As far as Libyans are concerned, Gaddafi hasn't changed the slightest.
And who has to feel shame? The people who bowed to him and kissed his hand. I did not bow to him, and I did not kiss his hand. Unfortunately, foreign governments, they bowed to him and they kissed his hand, like they're kissing the hand of a saint.
He's very erratic, very irresponsible, and everyone knows, but because he's pumping oil, because he has control over that oil, people are willing to dismiss anything he does.
Libya's oil fields now lie in the eastern half of the country Gaddafi has lost to the uprising. In his battle to remain, Gaddafi has set his people against one another. What began as a protest has become a fight for the future.
I received a Twitter from a youth in Libya, and this probably was the hardest one I got and most life-changing. And it says, I can't specifically quote what he said, but from what I remember, I'm paraphrasing. He said, we, the youth in Libya, will topple the regime down, and you, the people outside of Libya, you need to come back and rebuild the country. And I'm determined to make it to make his dream come true, and we will go back and we will rebuild Libya.
Especially my daughter, she's very upset because she has she said to me, why we can't go home, Dad? And the first thing, I want to take them to Benghazi, and I walk the streets of my hometown with them. And that would be the greatest feeling for me.